Does the rest of the world aspire to be like China, a country which has no democracy, has a very repressive approach to freedom of expression and human rights in general? I mean,
Well,
is that the inevitable downside of becoming the world's #1 economic power?
yeah, actually, I'm very glad you asked that question, because in asking that question, you were putting on lenses from the 19th and 20th century to look at the 21st century. I hope, please forgive me for being so frank with you. I mean, the impression that the many Westerners have, as you revealed in your question, is that the 1.4 billion people in China are suffering so badly because their human rights are being deprived and they're just being oppressed by a wicked, evil Communist Party government. Now that's exactly the black and white world that that we got used to in the 19th and 20th century, which is no longer relevant in the 21st century, because the Chinese are going to make their own choices about what kind of society they're going to have. And from the Chinese point, let me finish. Very important, very important. From the Chinese point of view, when they were weak and disunited, the West never exported human rights to them. The West never exported democracy to them. The West trampled on them. The British forced the Chinese to accept opium in return for Chinese tea. The West seized Chinese territories. The West took settlements from China. The West burned down the Summer Palace. You've forgotten all that. You've forgotten all that. And now you want to come as the saviors of China and say, don't you want a better government? What's wrong with you? You know, that's a sort of condescension that the West pours on China, which frankly is something that the West has got to get used to, the idea of stop doing it, because the Chinese are going to find their own way. And it may certainly may not be as good as the Western way, but it will be the Chinese way. And I also want to emphasize, to answer your question very directly, the Chinese will be very shocked if other countries try to emulate them, because the Chinese, unlike the Americans, don't believe they represent a universal civilization that is relevant to the rest of the world. They say, no. What we are doing in China is good for us. You do what is good for you. We do what is good for ourselves. The Chinese are not exporting the Chinese model to anybody. So you shouldn't feel threatened in any way by the Chinese succeeding in their own way.